Good morning, guys. Tiff Travels the World here, coming to you live from Vegas. I just got back from Beirut, Lebanon last night, and I kind of normally go live for something like this, but I don't want to miss anything, and I also want to share this on different platforms such as Instagram and TikTok. Tiff Travels the World. Anyway, I just came back from Beirut, Lebanon. Yeah, Beirut, Lebanon. It is June 3rd, 2023. And I know that's not a normal vacation spot that people would choose, but I have a friend from Lebanon who said it was a beautiful place. And since I'm Tiff Travels the World, I was like, well, let me go. I was already visiting Turkey, which is only an hour and a half flight away from Beirut. So I decided to take a flight over. It was only $200, an hour and a half flight, like I said. Um, when we started landing, I looked outside and there was beautiful green blue water everywhere. The city looked very big and full of homes and apartments. This was just as we were landing. As I got closer, I noticed that everything kind of looked condemned, and it made me sad because it was such a contrast to the beautiful water. Kind of looked like there was, some war-torn area, which is the case with Beirut. They've had 7 wars there, and the most recent was in 2006. So a lot of people still have the name Beirut in their mind, and it's not a place that they think of as visiting. It is also on the government's non-recommendation to go. They say there is the potential to be kidnapped, robbed, different things like this, so it's a warning. It's also the same warning for Turkey. So if you're a world traveler, you just have to make these decisions for yourself and go and be safe. I recommend staying in all the tourist areas, having a guide, and always making sure you check in and let someone know where you are. Okay, so as we're landing, I turn on my phone, and typically I have Verizon, and they automatically connect you to the travel pass, and they say, your travel pass starts now. In this particular place, the travel pass did not start. And that right there was number two thing that kind of jarred me. Like, it's the first time I've ever landed and the travel pass didn't kick in. So I'm like, ooh, that's kind of different. So I get off the flight, I go to check in through immigration, and I don't see any place to get a visa or ask anything about it. I'm not sure if I need one, but I knew it said I could get one upon arrival if I did. So you want to check all these things before you go, because sometimes a visa takes a few days. So I get to the immigration officer and I tell him I didn't see a place to get a visa. My apologies. He says, oh, well, you're welcome. You don't need a visa. Come in, have a great time. So that made me feel a little bit better. So I get outside into the terminal where typically you find taxis and Uber and directions to do this or that. Well, there was nothing. So I'm looking around. I asked a girl there, like, where's the ATM? Where's the taxi? And she says, I don't know. I'm looking myself. So I'm like, okay. And I hear this guy, like, yelling from the outside, like, taxi, taxi, do you want a taxi? And I look out, and he's standing there, like, he can't come in, and there's a soldier there. So I'm like, okay, he can't come in. I can't find a place, so I come out. He's like, do you need a taxi? I'm like, yeah, I need a taxi. I'm going here, the Beverly Hotel. I was like, well, how much is it going to be? He's like, $30. Now, at most places you can negotiate. You can always negotiate in most countries. But this time, I'm like, let me get my butt in this taxi and just go. I don't want to negotiate. I just want to get there. So meanwhile, he starts walking with me and puts me in a taxi car with a different driver and doesn't take any money from me, but he does allow me to exchange my $50 bill for $50. So I'm like, okay, he's on the up and up. Anyway, I get in, and the guy, I'm like, do you know where I'm going? And he's just like looking at me. He doesn't understand. So I'm like, okay, we need to stop because I don't think you know where I'm going. Luckily, he calls the guy that just put me in the taxi and says, talk to him. So I talk to him. I say, does he know we're going to the Beverly? He's like, yes, he knows. So, okay, we go to the Beverly Hotel. On the way, it's like we almost die like 5 times. This driving here, there's no lights, there's no rhyme or reason. People are just all over the road, coming at us, going away. People are beeping the horn. I see ladies driving, standing there, sitting there mad. People coming on bikes, motorcycles, everything. If you check out my page, Tiffany Mullen or Tiff Travels the World, you'll see a video clip on Facebook. So anyways, we just keep driving, and it's just insane. And I had thought of renting a car, but it's insanity, worse than Saudi Arabia, which I thought was the worst driving. No, this is the worst driving in Lebanon. Yes, Beirut. So finally, what seems like only like 15, 20 minutes, we show up, and I see Beverly Hotel, and all of a sudden, like, everything changes. It looks normal, like, it looks calm. I walk in, everything's clean and neat, and the guys are speaking English, and I'm like, okay, this is cool. So I get in there, I check in, they offer me like a drink, take me up to the room, put my stuff in the room, and asking the guy about the Wi-Fi. They have Wi-Fi in the hotel, but since I couldn't get a SIM card, I go and ask about the SIM card, and they're like, you can get one next door, but you'll need your passport to get it. So I'm like, okay, I need my passport to get it. That's weird, but I'll go do it. So I go do it. I try to pay with my Visa. He's like, you can't pay with your Visa. You need cash. He said our dollar has crashed, and it's best to have cash here, or you're going to have a stack like this much. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what you're talking about. I just got there, but I was like, okay. Gave him $20, got my SIM card. Normally my pass for Verizon is $10 a day, so I'm going to be there 4 or 5 days. This is a good deal. So, go back to my hotel. On the way, okay, so I developed some kind of sniffling and runny nose there because there's a lot of, it seems smoggy, and there's a lot of smoke, and cars are doing that pop, 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 like the emissions are like kind of off. So I don't know if I'm sick, but my nose is running, so I go in the pharmacy right there, and right away the doctor's like there asking me, do you have heart problems? Do you have, high blood pressure? What are your symptoms? And he's speaking English good enough, so I'm answering. So in 3 minutes, he's like diagnosed me and gave me this medication. And I'm like, wow, that's cool, because in America, you need an appointment. They got to put your prescription in. It's all this extra. So then I get my medicine, and I'm like, how much is it? He's like, it's $5. I said, can I use the Visa? He's like, no, you can't use the Visa. So I'm like, okay. So I have to go get money. I have no more money, no more cash on me. My cat's here. Anyway, so I run across to the ATM. Everything goes good, thankfully. I get the money out, come back, give him the $5, and I'm really realizing, like, the Visa is not going to work here. It's all cash. Everybody's been telling me so far it's all cash because the money is just worth nothing. So anyways, I'm also realizing that not only is the money worth nothing, but like the government has ways that's squeezing the people into doing things certain ways. You know what I mean? So that day ended up going for a walk on the water. It was beautiful. There was some trash a little bit on the water, but everybody's out exercising, riding bikes. It's a beautiful place. I have dinner, pay with cash again, and I go back to my room. So the next day I have this tour book that I booked through Get Your Guide, which I thought was like, Get Your Guide is always reputable, always a good thing. Now, for some reason, I paid for the lunch, the guide, and the vehicle. And it was $85. So I paid for that. And the guy comes to get me, and I'm like, well, where's my guide? Where's the other people? He doesn't even know what I'm talking about. So I get kind of frustrated, and I text the company real quick. I'm like, look, your guy doesn't know, he doesn't speak English. He's not even like trying to talk to me. I'm like, what's going on? He goes, no, he speaks English. And he goes, it must be his accent. I'm like, I know a damn accent. So anyway, I just let him go, drive, and I'm thinking to myself, I hope I don't have to kill this boy if I'm getting kidnapped. But anyway, so we drive about an hour, and he just stops. And I look, and I see a castle, and I look to the right, and I see a ticket place, and I see a guy with a police shirt on. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going to tell him what's going on. So I get out and I tell him, like, hey, I need some kind of guide. I said I paid for one, but I didn't get one. So he ends up bringing a guide to me, and end up paying the entry fees, which I'm not supposed to be paying because that was supposed to be with the package of Get Your Guide. Anyway, when the Get Your Guide sends me the ticket that they say I bought, it's like the $36 ticket for just a driver. So somehow it's gotten switched. I'm like, okay, could be my mistake. I don't think it's my mistake. I paid the $85. We'll let it go. They feel bad. And they're like, okay, well, we'll get some other driver to come that has people in the car and another guide, and we'll let you follow. So I'm like, okay, cool. Following them, go to the various places during the day. Everything's cool. I'm just like, whatever. I pay that guide, a few dollars for taking me around and showing me the palace. And, I'm okay. So when I get back to the hotel, they text me, hey, we have another thing going on tomorrow if you want to join. And that was today, which was Sidon and Tyre and Magdouche. And so the next day he was like, well, we're going to go here to the grotto. And so I'm like, okay, yeah, I want to do that because I wanted to do that anyway. It's beautiful, guys, beautiful. Check my pictures on Facebook. So anyways, so he says, okay, it's $85 and you'll get lunch and you'll get a driver and you'll get a guide. I'm like, okay, this is that same thing. Let's pay for it. The next day, I actually get what I wanted. So if you talk to the people directly, you'll get what you want. But if you go online, you won't. And I'm saying this because the next day after that, went online, tried to book again. But this time it was through like Viator or something like that. Same thing ended up happening. So somebody is interfering with the purchase somehow, which I'm thinking maybe the government is taking that money and giving you like the $36 just driver. I don't know where it's getting mixed up, but I made sure that I did the right thing this time since the first one was messed up. So anyways, I'm like, okay, I'm tracking how you doing stuff here in this country. And I'm annoyed, but I'm like, okay, I don't really need a guide. I can read, right? So I'll just go pay my, entrance fees and get my own guide or do whatever I want. Don't you know, this guy at least speaks English, so we're talking and everything, and we get to the place that I want to go called Baalbek. And we get up to pay for the ticket, and online it says 100,000 of Beirut, Lebanon money is equal to $5. So they start giving me all these tickets. Literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, like 9 tickets that equals 1 million Lebanese dollars. And I'm like, why are you giving me all these tickets? It's just me. They're like, the dollar, it's trash, it's down, it's gone. This is how much you have to pay. So I'm still thinking it's at $5. I don't know if y'all understand what I'm saying, but anyway, so not only is all this nonsense going on in the country, but what they're telling you online about their money being 100,000 equaling $5 is not true. It's only equaling $1. So when I paid 1 million, thinking like, oh my gosh, you're charging me $50 to get in here when it's supposed to be 10. No, the 100,000 is now only worth $1. And he said it just happened within the past week. So I look online again, and it says this, that the government hasn't been keeping up with what it's telling people online. And I also think that when I was looking for the different tickets to purchase, there was something on there that said, get a guide, a local guide, and it was not even letting me get into it. So what I'm telling you, I hope y'all are able to listen to this long spiel, is when you go to Lebanon, there's a lot of shisty stuff going on, and it's because the government has its hands in everything, and they're not telling you the truth until you get there. And the people are having to go through some stuff that we don't really know about. But on top of having all those wars, the government doesn't give half of the people electricity. Half of them don't have fresh water. They're still making it though. They're still out there loving life and exercising and enjoying their, morning swims and trying to do their best that they can. But these are just the things that I saw there, and I don't know everything. I was only there 4 or 5 days, but it was my observations. So I just want to tell you, I say go there and support their economy, That's what I always promote. TIFF Travels the World, promoting tourism. But just be aware that some stuff is going on. Bring your cash. Um, Talk to the people. Don't book stuff online so much. Like, book through your hotel where they're going to know the people and be able to guide you in the right directions, because there might be some bad stuff going on, but you can find the good stuff. I always say the good outweighs the bad. Now I'm back and I didn't want to talk to too many people. One person asked me how I felt about Hezbollah, and I said I didn't know anything about it, and I kind of shied away from that guy because I didn't want to create any tensions with me being there. But I'm just telling you, this is a place that's beautiful, and I do want to promote it on TIFF Travels the World as a place to go. And the people were lovely, and please check out my Facebook. It's just a little bit different than I've ever experienced before firsthand, but thankful that I'm back. And I'm not saying don't go there, but be ready when you go there. God bless you guys. TIFF Travels the World.